To the South China Sea now, where there's been another confrontation between the Chinese and Philippine Coast Guard at Scarborough Shoal. Footage released by the Philippine Coast Guard shows a Chinese vessel firing water cannon at a nearby vessel. China says its Coast Guard undertook control measures against illegal activities. Beijing lays claim to much of the South China Sea, including Scarborough Shoal, which lies closer to the Philippines than China. A 2016 international ruling declared the shoal a traditional fishing ground to be shared by countries around it. Al Jazeera's Barnay is following the story. He joins us live from Manila. So, Barnay, this is the third confrontation this week between Philippine and Chinese forces at sea. How severe was today's clash?
Yeah, Sammy, I think we can look at these three incidents, in fact, this week as a whole. And we can look at them in a couple of ways, I think. I think it's unusual, definitely, that there would be three encounters between China and the Philippines in the South China Sea within the same week. One on Monday, where a Philippine Navy sailor sustained a head injury, and then another on Wednesday, where a Chinese Coast Guard vessel fired water cannon towards Philippine vessels to try to drive them away. And then another earlier today, Thursday, another water cannon incident, but this time around hitting a Philippine fisheries vessel. But in terms of severity, Sammy, I think these incidents that we saw this week aren't the worst. There have been many clashes since President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. took office in 2022. Last year, a Chinese Coast Guard vessel and a Chinese Navy ship collided with each other while they were chasing Philippine vessels. And in June 2024, a Philippine Navy sailor lost his thumb during a violent encounter with the Chinese Coast Guard. Now, these incidents, of course, aren't new, but I think at the very least, the timing is interesting because these happened during the week-long ASEAN foreign ministers meeting here in Manila, where China is also a participant, Sammy.
And Barnaby, the Chinese and Philippine foreign ministers have held a bilateral meeting about these clashes. What have they been saying?
Well, the Philippines and China, as expected, Sammy, are blaming each other. Beijing saying that it is just enforcing lawful control measures against vessels that are intruding into its maritime territory. Beijing accusing Manila of being provocative as well by having journalists on board its Coast Guard vessels. Manila's position has always been that these incidents are taking place within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, where it has sovereign rights based on international law and based on a UN-backed 2016 international court ruling. Now, as you mentioned, the Chinese and Philippine foreign ministers Wang Yi and Teresa Lazaro met on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit, and they reiterated these positions. But in addition, Lazaro protested an AI-generated video that China Daily, a state-backed media outlet, posted depicting Filipinos as monkeys that are subservient to Western powers. It's unclear how Wang Yi reacted to that, but in a press release, Wang Yi was quoted as saying that the Philippines should stop getting influenced by external factors and should go back on the right track. Having said all that, both sides have also said that they want to keep talking, that they are committed to a peaceful settlement of this territorial dispute. And in fact, the reason that China has a delegation here at the ASEAN summit is because ASEAN, as a regional bloc, has been negotiating a code of conduct in the South China Sea with Beijing for many years. Sammy.
Thanks so much. Barnaby there, reporting from Manila.